Sheikh al-Maqam. All right, so without any further ado, Sadia is going to go ahead and go through the rest of our agenda, inshallah.
I recognize and appreciate that we are running late, so I'll do my best to go through the election process relatively quickly while not leaving out certain important details. If you do have questions regarding the election process or any of the processes that we followed in order to arrive at today, please let me know and we can go into a little bit further detail about those things. After we do the election process, we will have the candidate introductions, Q&A, and then we will pray, inshallah, and then after Salah, we'll come back and there will be dinner, refreshments, and then voting at the same time. We'll talk a little bit more in detail about that in just a second. We've done that, I trust, the introduction. Back in December, when we were originally supposed to have the election process start, we did start to post membership lists and things like that upstairs and downstairs so that people could see who was on the list, see if they had any disputes, things like that, so that we could address those. Of course, we know that fateful meeting back in December when the board was dissolved. From that point until today, probably 5 or 6 times we've updated those lists, and then we've posted what we have based on updated information. So, and we've also not just posted them here, but we have also sent them out on the mailing lists in order to try and get the community to be aware of everything that was going on. Then we started the nomination process. We did that by sending nomination letters and emails out to the community. This year we did something a little bit new in that we allowed nominations to be submitted via email. That hasn't been done in the past, but with the digital technological age, we thought it might be a little bit easier for some of our members, so we did that. And we set an April 29th deadline for postmarks and midnight on that same day for those emails to have come in order to be accepted. We met as a group, we met as a group on May 1st, and we basically went through all of those nominations. We went through the lists, we determined who's on the membership list, who's not on the list at all. We compiled a list, we separated out the ones that weren't on the list at all, and then we separated those people out amongst us, and we each had a certain number of people to contact and see if they accepted, declined, and then to get their bios and photos. That actually continued up until really Friday, yesterday. It continued a little bit, and then we had our final decline today. But alhamdulillah, we got through the entire list, and it's all taken care of. No questions there. And then, of course, the candidate forum today. Absolutely.
Yeah, we sent about 240.
We have those numbers in just a second. Yeah, sorry. You want to go through the numbers, Uncle Nasir?
Yeah,
They are on the next slide, but we'll go ahead and let him do that.
we sent them 240 nomination forms, and then we received about 216, and 24 came back. They didn't receive by the members, and 47 respond with a positive attitude about the election, and they wanted to be accepted in nominations.
So you know where we are at this point, May 12th, the candidate forum. I just want to go quickly through what's going to happen from here until we announce the results. So after the forum, after Asr Salah, inshallah, we will start the voting. It is also something new for this year. We are having all of the voting to take place on site here at the masjid. So if you want to cast a ballot, you come here. We'll have that tonight, as well as Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of this coming week. Monday and Wednesday, from Asr time until Isha, you can cast your ballot. One of us will be here at those times. and we'll have the ballots. Bring your ID. We'll be good to go, and you can cast your ballot. On Friday, starting after Jummah and up until Maghrib, you'll be able to also cast your ballot. So there's plenty of different times. We try to allow for after work hours and things like that to allow people to come different days. If you're going to be here for Jummah anyway, feel free to come. Tell your friends who are also members about these timings so that we can maximize, inshallah, community engagement on this. It's a little bit different from what we've done in the past, but this is something that we thought was very important. It's very easy to sit at home, not know who's on a list, and cast a vote. But we wanted to encourage not only attendance tonight, but really looking into the candidates a little bit more, taking the trouble to come to the masjid and actually cast those ballots on site. We will be meeting on May 22nd, that's a Wednesday, and we'll be meeting to count the ballots. Until that day, the ballots will remain sealed, and we would like to open that to all of you. We don't want this to be a closed-door system. We want, from what we're doing, everything that we've done in the past and up until now, and until we announce the results, we want it to be completely transparent. You're welcome to come. You're welcome to watch as we count those ballots, and if you have any questions or concerns at that point in time, we're happy to, announce them. Address them, and then the results will be announced at Jummah on May 24th. So 2 days after we count those ballots, we'll go ahead and finalize that list, and we'll announce the results. Brother Nasir already went through the numbers there, so I won't trouble you with that again. But we came down to 18 accepted nominations, and this is the list of those nominees here. Some of them were not able to come tonight, and in those cases, we do have contact information for them. If you have specific questions for those nominees, we're happy to filter those up. But inshallah, we'll be able to address a lot of the questions and things that you might have with the ones that were actually able to attend tonight. After we finish this process, we will have them each come up, and they will have up to 3 minutes to introduce themselves beyond the sheet of the sheets that you should already have with their bios. We tried to get some information, collect as many photos as we could so that you have that to hold on to, you have that to read through, you can see what backgrounds are and what visions are for the community, and that's something that you can take with you. You don't necessarily need to vote tonight. If you decide you want to go through and read those bios and come back one of the other days, that's perfectly okay as well. The candidates will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves and tell you about what their vision is. And then once all of the candidates have had an opportunity to do that, anybody who has a question, we have index cards. You can write, as in the example there, you can write who the question is for and what your question is. We do ask that you address the question to a particular person, because if we just leave it open and every single candidate is answering that question, we're going to be here forever. So we would request that you address each of your questions to a specific candidate. And if you have more than one question, that's okay too. Just please put them on separate cards. Just to tell you what the guidelines are going to be for the voting, after Salah, like I said, we'll come back down here, and we're actually going to announce different groups of letters. So, for example, A through F. Whoever's last name is A through F, come up. We'll form 2 lines, one for the brothers, one for the sisters. We have your ballots, and each of the ballots will not have a name on it. It will only have an identifying number, so it will remain, remain anonymous. And you cast your vote for up to 11 of the candidates. You're going to put that ballot into an envelope and seal it, and that's what you'll turn in. So even we, as the election committee / interim board, will not know what that vote is until we do it in front of the community on 22nd, inshallah. No ballots should be taken with you. So if you don't want to vote tonight, that's fine, just don't get in line. You're more than welcome to come back on one of the other days and vote. But if you do come up to vote and you have that ballot, we do need that to be then turned in. So please don't take those with you. And then the Imam very eloquently express just a few things about what the qualities of a leader are, and the things that we should think about when we're thinking about who to vote for and whether we're in the position to be seeking leadership. There's a lot of things that you have to think about. This is an amana, and this is something that's going to be a huge weight, either a good weight or a bad weight. So inshallah, whoever does end up on the board, let it be that this is a blessing for them and they're able to bring a lot of good to the community, and all of the things that they do as part of the board are mountains of hasanat for them and not something that's going to be a burden for them, inshallah. Just a few reminders. I know we're low on time, but I think these are very important. Number one, that the model for us as a community, as a masjid, and as a board, should come from the Quran and the Sunnah. It should come from what we know to be the best model, and that's the model of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And if we keep that in mind and we guide our behavior by that, then inshallah this can be nothing but successful. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, there's a hadith where he said, "Do you know what's better than charity and fasting and prayer?" Now keep in mind, those are 3 of the 5 pillars of Islam. He said, "Do you know what is better than charity and fasting and prayer?" He said, "It's keeping peace and good relations between people, as quarrels and bad feelings destroy mankind." Please keep this in mind. Imam already mentioned this last hadith, so I won't necessarily get into it. But again, if we're covetous of leadership, if there's somebody who seeks it out so much, then maybe that's not the best thing for that person. Keep that in mind when you're casting your votes. I'm just going to throw out there, keep also in mind diversity and representation of the community, and inshallah, let's do this. Yeah, I really think that we should go ahead and get started with the nominee introductions. So if those of you who are on the nominee list, if you could please come to the front.
Man, this is history. This is like mosque history. It is mosque history.
Just a quick reminder, someone had asked a question, and so I wanted to clarify. You can vote for up to 11 candidates. So when you cast your ballot, you can vote for any number, but not more than 11. If you vote for more than 11 on your ballot, your entire ballot will be disqualified. So please be careful not to do that. No, it can be up to 11.
If you vote less than 11, your vote is unvalid.
No. It's just to clarify. That's why I wanted to clarify. You can vote for up to 11. Anywhere from 0 to 11 people, you can vote for. Not more than 11. You cannot vote. You could vote for 0, but then it would be pointless. So up to 11. Up to 11.
On with the show here. We're going to go, inshallah, in alphabetical order. Brother Zubair Ahmed is not present. Yeah, it's the last name.
Nishan, I'll do 15 minutes. I'll do 15 minutes. That way you don't have to do it.
Do you want to do Muhammad Ali? Inshallah. Yeah, just stand up and then I'll hand you the microphone, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Brother Albi, just before you begin, when you have 1 minute left, I will put my finger up like
I'll
that.
stop before that. Because I'm very conscious of the time. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. As you heard, my name is Muhammad, middle name is Sarwar Albi. I'm here in this community, it's little more than 40 years. One of the founding members of this Islamic Association of Cincinnati. And my professional background is that I have doctor's degree in education from the University of Cincinnati, and I was involved in educating high school physics and math students. And I also have, other than physics and math, BSc, 2 BSc, and BSc in Islamic Studies also. And all planning done originally when we made this Islamic Association as Cincinnati, and then this building, the development of this I was a member, development of the Westchester Masjid I was a member, and then the education system for our children. For all 40 plus years I'm involved in this masjid. I was involved in this Westchester also when we were together under one Islamic Association of Cincinnati. And I tried to reach the youth, not only inside these walls, but I took them outside. I used to sponsor baseball team of our youth here in Cincinnati, and we have the games all around in the city. And here, Little Islamic Association of Cincinnati, they were playing with the other team, not Muslim. And we established a very good relationship with the community through the team. And also we used to invite the non-Muslim youth also to come and play with us and stay with our kids and be friends with each other. And then when we came here, we cannot find any Hafiz Quran in this country who can lead Tarawih prayer. So we were upset with that this kind of thing, this big event of Ramadan. So I contacted some people in England, and we invited, some people know, the brother Muhammad Ashraf. And he started coming, he was after Quran, he was all of it. He came for 5-6 years. It happened. And not only we provided here for many years, and we provided Brother Yahya here, that he has a place there. And Brother Hudayfa is blind brother, we placed Hafiz Quran there. And Lincoln Heights, we provide the Hafiz Quran there to read the Tarawih there. So, and also in Covington, we established the center there. We established the center in Xenia, 1 hour drive from here. And this government housing, but an African brother lived there. We established the Islamic center there. And I still go there around, but the Yahya is gone and this place is gone. So therefore I will have mercy on him. But Covington place is there, Xenia brother established. That place has a lot of Hafiz Quran and Alam in this small place. She said the time is up. I know I'll stop.
Thank you.
Dr. Ashraf, you're up.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. My name is Muhammad Ashraf. I am a professor in College of Medicine, University of Cincinnati, and has been in the community and active in the association affairs since 1978, and served in the capacity of treasurer for 8 years and board trustees for 2 terms. My services to the community include maintenance of buildings, outside shrubbery, parking and police arrangements, Friday money collections, helping Surrey at the present time, establishment of monthly automatic bank withdrawal of member donations to the mosque account. And I am committed for community development, safety and security, strengthening bylaws, and promoting governing system continuity. That's the biggest weakness we have in the system, and I like to be part of to fix it up. Thank you very much for your support.
A minute 19.
All right. Jazakallah khair. Moving forward, we got Rauf Bakali.
Inshallah, I'll try to be directed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Like just talking to people or hearing from them, I have nothing to say. I'm just an ordinary Muslim. Just belong. We call it, this is a natural masjid. I live in Westchester and we call that masjid marketing masjid because there's so much marketing goes on there. Again, I'm here, my background is engineering, working for GE, General Electric, and I've been involved with this community, and inshallah, my major thing that I would like to see is the whole community to be united. And I was not intending to be on the board, but whatever now it is. But again, I've accepted this nomination that whatever I can do to bring the youth and the seniors on the same platform, and whatever we should do, we should serve this community to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing else. So whatever we do, we should do to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whatever we do, we should try to, or each of us should follow Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam Sunnah the best we can. That's all I have to say. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sister Heather Bradford is next.
Assalamu alaikum. For those of you who don't know me, I am Heather Bradford. I grew up in Cincinnati. I did convert about 4.5 years ago. And I started coming to Clifton a lot because I started attending halakas and I started volunteering at Project Downtown and helping out as much as I could. Because really being around everyone helps my deen. I was asked, why do you want to be a part of this community? Like, why do you even want to run for the board? Actually, by my husband, it's his first experience here in the mosque today. And I said, I want to be around the people who helped me become a Muslim. I didn't know how to make wudu. Sisters sitting here and aunties, they showed me how to wear hijab. They taught me how to be a Muslim, how to recite prayer. I can never repay this community for everything that they've done for me. And I am only one of hundreds of stories of people who come to this mosque and are affected by it, good and bad. And I want to help the unity grow. I want to help welcoming committees. I want to help anything that can be done for this masjid and for people who will come here, because that's what being a part of the ummah is about, right? I don't want to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, I had a chance to do it, but I didn't. I was scared, I was busy, because I was taught that while you have health, while you have your youth, whatever monies you may have, it's supposed to go to the community. And I want to do that by continuing to serve all of you.
Sister Heather. Brother Jeffrey Calvert.
Assalamu alaikum. So my name is Jeff Calvert, and I'm one of the two people who was just contacted yesterday. So it's a bit of a surprise, but it's an honor and a privilege to be nominated for the board. Since I'm unknown to, I think most of you, let me tell you a bit about myself. So I grew up, was born and raised outside of Cleveland, Ohio, educated in Ohio, went to medical school in Dayton. Throughout my adult life, I've been committed to helping other people. And for example, one example of that is I did my residency at Cook County Hospital in Chicago. It's a large public hospital serving the poor and needy. We didn't turn any patients away. That hospital still doesn't do that. Currently, I work for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is a U.S. federal government agency. We're responsible for protecting workers from hazards on the job. And I'm a team leader. I supervise 6 individuals who are comprised of physicians and other scientists. I also live here in the Clifton community. I live just about a half mile north of here on a small street with about 7 houses, and it's a private lane. So we have to maintain that street ourselves, and I'm the mayor of the street. And as the mayor, it's my responsibility to manage the fiscal operation, maintain the street, and also to foster communication with our neighbors. And so I'm also a recent convert to Islam. I did my Shahada approximately 4 years ago. And with respect to my involvement here, I regularly attend the Jummah, I attend the community meetings and other activities that are hosted by the masjid. It would be an honor for me to serve on the board, and there's several reasons why I think I could be a good board member. One is I'm committed to helping the mosque be healthier, stronger, and more transparent. Second, I think I have the skills. I'm a good listener, organizer. I demonstrate my dependability by following through on the promises that I make. And also I have excellent relations with this Clifton community. Also, I would bring to the board the perspective of a recent convert and the perspective of the local neighborhood. And I'd also like to assist the mosque to improve its relationship with the local Clifton neighborhood. Many people don't know much about Islam. Some people are fearful of it. So I think we need to respond to that by becoming more visible in our neighborhood. We need to be model neighbors. We need to do good deeds, perform services that are visible, that show the love, kindness, and generosity. And so, is my time up? Okay.
That's a position for you. Jazakallah khair. Brother Majid Abdub is next.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to make it simple and easy. You have my picture, you have the information about me, you could read it. The only thing I want to add is, really I wasn't planning to run the board, but I talked to several people. I think the next stage, the next 4 years are critical. I think you need people who are willing to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to unite the community and do the best so that we can achieve the goals of the association. May Allah reward all of you, and may Allah forgive us all.
Next is Sister Amina Darwish.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wa salatu wa salam ala ashraf al-Mursaleen. In the name of Allah, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy, and prayers and blessings be on his beloved Prophet Muhammad. So the word masjid in Arabic literally means the place of sujood. And we all know that the time in salah, when you're making sujood, that's the time where you're closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my hope is the masjid becomes the place where we all feel like we are closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regardless of whether you're male or female, young, old, whatever your language, whatever your culture is. This really needs to be the place where we all feel like we can connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we all know the examples of the Prophet ﷺ says you are not a believer until you honor the old and you have mercy on the young. Well, there's so many examples like this. The Prophet ﷺ talked about the believers being a community that supports one another like a building, and he put his fingers like this. And subhanAllah, if we had walked into the masjid and saw someone with a sledgehammer taking out one of the walls, we'd all stop them. And subhanAllah, we see people backbiting, which is breaking the bonds within the community, and we don't do anything, even though we know that the people in the masjid are far more important than the walls themselves. So inshallah, may Allah help us really stand for the example of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the things that the scholars did is they took the characteristics of the people of Badr, as specifically, these were the greatest Sahaba at the top of their game. And he took the 10 characteristics, and they include things like relying on Allah, aiming for a higher purpose, professionalism, putting people in position based on skill. There's so many, there are 10 things. We need to be honest with ourselves and see how we measure up to those things. If we're messing it up, then we're messing it up. We have to be honest and change it. And if we're doing it well, alhamdulillah, let's build on it. Two of the things that I'm involved with, alhamdulillah, I'm the advisor for the MSA UC, which is down the street. And it's very sad to me when the MSA students don't feel like they can come to the masjid. I'm also the content development coordinator for the Muslim Youth of North America. It's in the youth department of ISNA. And alhamdulillah, I work with a group of 17-year-olds. The brotherhood and sisterhood that you see from them is amazing. The level of professionalism, mashallah, they're really, really amazing. I just had one thing. The people, we all know the hadith of the 10 people that were promised Jannah. The average age of that group when they converted was 20. The average age of the people of Badr is 32. And both of these segments, you don't see them in the masjid anymore. This is a serious problem. When we talk about the youth being the future, they're not the future, they're the present. And if we don't recognize it and bring them back to the masjid, Juan Cole talked about, at the time of George Washington, there were more Muslims, a higher percentage of Muslims in America than there was at the time of George Bush. And since then, we've never been more than a blip on the screen. We've never been able to put down roots in this country. We have to make sure that for the future generations, I've seen youth that have left the fold of Islam. We have to fix this. This is a matter of survival. May Allah, inshallah, guide us to what pleases Him. Jazakumullah khairan.
Next, we have our brother Tariq al-Masidi.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to stay seated. I just want to mention, Sister Emina mentioned George Washington, and he actually had a quote that said, and he was fighting in the Revolutionary War. He actually said, "We are fighting the war now so that our children can be architects and engineers, and their children can be artists and poets." And I feel like, as Sister Emina said, this kind of work is not, there's no glory in this type of work. You can read in my bio, I've been on a masjid board here and on 2 terms at a previous masjid. It's not easy, it's not fun, there's arguments, there's tension, it's not easy at all. And I think, hopefully, I pray that all of us here and all the people who are wanting to serve are part of one of the 7 people shaded by the shade of Allah's throne on the Day of Judgment, the people whose heart is attached to the masjid. And I really hope that all of us who came here today and everyone who's willing to serve and put in their time is part of that, inshallah. I see a major problem is that there's just too much discord in this community, and it culminated in the dissolving of the board. There's a lot of argumentation, there's a lot of rumors spreading, and I always try to say that you never question a person's intentions, and I really believe even if the people are arguing, if I disagree with someone's actions or their ideas, I never question that their intention in this work is to serve Allah. Even if I disagree with them, and I have had major disagreements with many of the people sitting here at this table or at these tables, but I never question their intentions, and I never let anyone I know question their intentions. And I pray that inshallah Allah rewards them for their good intentions. But I feel like we need to see, as Sister Emina said, we are seeing, there are barely any there are no teenagers here. There's no young people here. We are literally losing our youth because they attend things like what we just saw, the first hour of this. And who wants to come to a masjid like this? Who wants to come? So I feel like we have major problems, and as the president of a masjid in the past, within 18 months, we were able to triple our monthly donors. We were able to double the rate of people who are converting to Islam. We were able to reform the bylaws and stabilize the community. We had a lot of major activities. We brought in a lot of guest speakers, a lot of guest scholars. We had open meetings with the community every 3 months. and complete financial transparency. So my main thing here is transparency and open communication between the board and the members of the community. And that's pretty much the main thing I am running on, is more transparency and more communication between the board and the members of the masjid, inshallah.
Brother Tariq. Brother Sean Grove.
Assalamu alaikum. I'll go ahead and remain seated as well because I can see my notes here. And if I stand up, I'm going to lose my place and get lost. But first of all, I have to say, if you look across this table here, we've got a lot of really great people up there. So mashallah, I'm really excited about this. I think this masjid is in a good place right now. Okay, so my introduction. My name is Sean Grubb. I work for Procter & Gamble. I also work for the University of Cincinnati. I'm an adjunct instructor there. And contrary to some popular belief, I do not work for the FBI. Okay, so I just want to make sure everybody knows that. I am Muslim, and I have been Muslim since 2004. Seriously. Yes. So the thing that is great about our community is we've got lots of passion and we've got lots of ideas. Both of those are great. What we don't have is a way to disagree with each other. We don't know how to disagree with each other. That's the one thing that I can help fix. So for Procter & Gamble, I mentor people who are just joining the community, or just joining the company, and I teach them how to have meetings and how to take people who have diametrically opposed positions and still find a way to move forward. Because in reality, a lot of the disagreements that we have are not that far apart, and if we just make a decision and move forward, we'll be a lot farther ahead than if we sit there and disagree with each other. That's the one thing that I can bring to this organization is how can we discuss with each other in an organized, systemic way so that at the end result, you may not be excited about where we land, but you'll be content with the process that we went through so that you're clear that your voice was heard, you had your say, and you don't feel like you were steamrolled or rolled over or pushed into doing something you don't think is correct. We've got great ideas, we've got great energy, we've got great passion. We just need to stop fighting with each other and get out of each other's way. So, Jazakallah khair, and like I said, I'm excited because I think we've got great people sitting up here.
Brother Sean. Dr. Siri? Dr. Siri.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Siri Hassan. I've been here in the community since 1969. I've been involving in this community since that day. And I collecting donations. I serve the masjid because I serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for that reasons, so serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm going to still doing what I'm doing. Open the masjid, close the masjid, checking the night, the lights, put the lights off. It's a fast living. I shut it off. If something's wrong, I call the brother Abdul Rashid. He fixed it and he get down to Allah. And based on that and the basis of what I saw tonight, I ask this community, I appreciate everybody, and I will draw my name from nomination. But I will still serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think they have to be in the board to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the capacities that I'm doing, but I ask this community to draw myself from the nomination. Jazakumullah khair.
Next is Dr. Mahdi Parent.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Mehdi. Actually, I'm born as Olivier Parent. I'm French, as you can hear. And it's a real blessing and honor to sit in front of you here and actually to sit with you here in this masjid. I converted or reverted, depending on, become that level, different way of thinking. I reverted to Islam more than 10 years ago in 2001. And mashallah, I came here in the US in 2006, and I am a real witness of how a masjid community can change life of myself and actually my family. My wife is here. She can say the same thing, mashallah. Our entire life has completely changed in terms of understanding Islam. And the way we see Islam in France and Europe is very different from here. We have been uplifted here. And our heart for all the people here, we really feel empathy here for all of our brothers and sisters. And we are very hurt when we see all this failing of discourse and failing to talk to each other. And if I'm sitting here today, it's really because I love it so much that I really want to bring this peace between all of us, okay, especially in the board. Because I think that I've met all the people in the board, most of them, and they are really good fathers from a good brother, very, very, very good, every single of them. They are very good, mashallah. They put some very strong foundation here in the masjid, very strong foundation, and I can witness that. Especially the last board, they have created a lot of activities for youth. They have a school, a homeschooling program. They have activities, sport activities, and all these volunteers. They have spent countless hours not every day, but I mean, most 2-3 times a week. They come here to the masjid. We should listen to them because they are actually they are the voice of the community. And I feel like sometimes they face some trouble they should not face. So we should listen to all these brothers and sisters volunteering here, having all these activities in the masjid and also outside the masjid. We should bring also more clarity with all the other associations. There are all the other Muslim associations that are here in town. And I think, mashallah, we have a really great community, and I can really witness that, and I have experienced that here. And I hope that a lot of other American non-Muslims can have the experience I had here. And may Allah bless all of you.
All right, Brother Mahdi. Sean, next is Dr. Majid Qureshi.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I am not going to talk about myself, what I did, but I'm going to give you a couple of messages. Things happen because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants them to happen. I can plan many things I want to do. I can have all the money to do it, but it is not going to happen if it is not Allah's will. And whatever I have done for this community, I don't want any credit for it. It's Allah's blessing. I'm going to summarize it for you. I'm not a cocky guy and proud for myself, but for this community I did everything that this community has, from the first mosque to the last mosque. And every time there was a need and opportunity to do something, I did it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made me do it. And I had a good wife pushing me from behind that we have to do it. And so we did it. And I'm very happy that Allah gave me the strength to do everything that I did for you. And I'm sure there are brothers in the community who helped me to accomplish the things. Okay, now if I had $5 million, I'd like to expand this mosque to Good Samaritan Hospital so that I don't have to come from there on Friday and I can pray right there. So that's one more thing I would like to say, that in my presence in the boards for the last 40 years, being as a president, being as a member, being everything, treasurer, you name it, I was there. The last 2 years were the least productive for this mosque that I have ever seen. And the reason being lack of cooperation between the people. We all want to serve the community. We wanted to make progress. We wanted to do things. We wanted to do better things. And I think the new board, this should be in their mind, that rather than politically, that SOB, I'm going to pull his leg. You should have what the community wants and what the community needs. And that's all I would say. Thank you.
Sean, next is Brother Safi.
Several people had called me and asked me to accept the nomination to be on this board. I've been a part of this community since the age of 9. I know Brother Shamma here, and I know several other people here on this board. Brother Albi had taught me, let's see, Brother Albi. Okay. Brother Albi taught me Quran and Arabic when I was younger here at the masjid in the house here. My family was heavily involved with bringing this building here together through the construction. I myself was involved through college, putting this building together and seeing it through from concept to what it is today. What I could bring to the board here, I don't know exactly what I could bring. I sit on several boards outside of the masjid, not involved with Islam but with the community, and I'm involved with a few boards with the community that I live in, the community that I work in. I'm involved with some boards with the University of Cincinnati. I'm involved with boards in the city of Cincinnati, and we have to deal with different opinions, different backgrounds, and everybody brings something good to the table. MashaAllah, everybody here today comes here with good intentions for the sake of the community, and I will continue to follow the steps of my father, who isn't with us today, who continued to tell me to push and do things selflessly for the sake of Allah. So, thank you.
So, Brother Safi. Next is Brother Nashid Shakir.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Nashid Shakir, and I'm very honored that I was asked to actually run as a candidate for this board. My history starts with Islam over 30 years ago. It started much different than most here, and I think I bring a perspective that will help move the board and help the board evolve to where it needs to be or where it's going anyway. But that perspective is that I was raised into Islam from the Nation of Islam, from disenfranchised people, where Islam showed the transformational ability of it by helping me change my whole life. That's when I learned the behavior under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, before I even learned the word. Before I even learned the word of the Quran. And in that transition of just learning the behavior, learning how to stop using drugs, learning how not to be chasing women, learning how to be a father, learning how to be just by the understanding that this is what Quran has said that we should do. Being raised to look with a vision that across the waters, our hands were touching those in Saudi Arabia, those in Africa. That's an image that was given us of our power and our greatness under Islam, to moving from teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to under the mentorship and the tutelage of Wallace D. Muhammad, who says that our relationships should be totally with Quran, where we learn the Quran, where we're given the basic of the book. And then our hands start reaching from across the waters, where Imam Wallace Muhammad said we need to reach across the street to those Muslims who are in our country that we have no relationship with, that we should relate, because Muslims are one ummah. One ummah. And that's my movement here. For those who are disenfranchised, we look around this room, we don't only not see youth, we don't see a lot of people with color. We don't see a lot of Africans that make up a big part of this community. A lot of African Americans that make up a big part of this community. In my movement, they say that on Sundays, that the most segregated time is during the time of the Christian worship. Well, on Fridays, the most inclusive time for Muslims is when it's time for Jummah. We see people from all over the world that come together, but after Jummah, they're separated. So my background, my history is about community development. I've been working in communities with disenfranchised people for over 30 years. I do human resource development. I work with 27 different councils inside of the Housing Authority. I have the expertise, the ability to help develop, organize, and move processes. And I pray to Allah, in my humble acceptance, if I'm elected, that I can help bring that transformation that I lived through into our community, where we all look around and see what Allah has blessed us with in diversity and inclusion.
Next we have Dr. Shamma.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. My synopsis about my life is well documented in the synopsis that you have in your hands. But just to highlight it, I came to Cincinnati about 44 years ago as a young professor in the University of Cincinnati. But I left academia and started dedicating most of my life for the Islamic world. The important thing that I would like to convey to you, that Clifton Mosque, representing a lot of different ethnic groups, and that I would say we are very proud of it. You can go to a certain mosques across the country and you will see only one ethnic group. But alhamdulillah, here we have people from across a good representation. And Dr. Qureshi did not talk about himself much, but he contributed a lot. I mean, there was a big push to re-establish a mosque in Cincinnati and to run it in the proper way. Even though we start running after we built it as a small committee and then evolved to a full board and so on. But it is very important to understand that sincerity, hard work, honesty are very important ingredients, plus experience, because you can have a lot of good intentions, but without the experience, you are go nowhere, because then you're going to fall in the same mistakes that has happened before. And we don't want that to happen. And they asked one question here, before I conclude, say, 5 years from now, where do you hope to see Clifton Mosque? I hope it is still in Clifton. Thank you.
And last but not least, when we thought we weren't going to ever finish, we got Brother Abdul Mu'min.
Assalamu alaikum. Hearing all these qualities and the badness on both my sides, so I thought I have no what to be a member, but still somebody will propose my name. So I'm living here in Cincinnati from 1991, and it is about 22 years. I love this masjid. That's the main thing. I'm living within the 1 mile of this masjid, and I'm not going. My family pushing me to go outside to look for a better place, better home. I don't know. I want to be within the vicinity of the mosque. That's the one thing, and I don't want to say where I work, because if I say, all of you will run away from me, because I work with Internal Revenue Service. I love this masjid. My objective will be just what I see. Very few people come to the masjid, and it's very sad to me. In Friday, I see 300, 400 people. One time I came to Asr prayer, I prayed alone. There was not a single brother or sister in the masjid to make a jama. Another thing, there is a different ethnic groups. My objective will be to find a unity within diversity. That's what I want to say. Thank you. May Allah bless this masjid. May Allah bless this community.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Abu Muhammad. All right, Sunj. All right, so after putting our heads together here, we're going to actually leave it up to the crowd. We're going to ask, we had the original plan of trying to do Asr prayer 30. So, 5 minutes before 6:30? Okay, so 6:25, which is about 9 minutes away. So inshallah, we can go pray, right? We can go ahead and go and pray right now, inshallah. Or we can start the Q&A. Okay. I was going to give you that recommendation anyway. All right, so inshallah, we'll go ahead and start. Inshallah, we'll actually start prayer in case people still have to make wudu and so on and so forth. We'll go ahead and head on upstairs, inshallah, and start prayer in approximately 10 minutes. Get these questions written down. We'll have a couple of people, inshallah, coming around to collect these questions. We already have a couple right here, which we will, inshallah, be starting. The way this process is going to work is we actually have, each of the candidates had actually received a list of 5 questions. They will randomly be asked one of those questions in between each of the questions that are being asked by the audience. So inshallah, we will actually be starting that here in exactly 1 minute, inshallah.
It's recording.
Can we all get seated here, inshallah?
So I'm in the left. How many? It's recording now, but they're going to sign it. Stop.
Actually, Zishan and Sister Sadia, and most of the credit goes to these 2 people. And I, especially Sadia, arranged everything, almost everything, and she deserves a lot of credit. And I want applause for Sadia.
Bismillah. This is to Sister Heather and Sister Amina. What is your vision for the engagement of children and youth in the community? And do you feel like agencies like Institute of Youth Development and Excellence have an important place in helping the children from our community develop attachment to their masjid and community?
I definitely think nonprofit organizations or organizations in general that have already been started are critical to our masjid because they're already started. Why reinvent the wheel? I think collaborations are very important, but I also think establishing work that's already being done in the mosque, volunteering, the volunteers that have worked hard to establish things as well here should be taken into account.
SubhanAllah, I know that today was sort of an abnormal meeting, but generally speaking, everything at the masjid should have a program for the children. It's not fair to tell the children, go sit in a corner and be quiet so we don't have to hear you and we don't want to see you run around. Over time, the children learn to hate the masjid instead of love the masjid. This is, for our community, this is unacceptable. We have to make sure that children love the masjid. It's really simple to get a bunch of coloring books and have them color. They colored every time, alhamdulillah, throughout Ramadan we did a program like this. We tried as much as we can to have programs like this. The children could leave loving the masjid. SubhanAllah. And I support collaborating with any organization. If anyone's doing it well, alhamdulillah.
Our sisters. Okay, so we're going to actually, let's see, do a little random question here. If I had to draw it, that'd be awesome. But I'm going to pull it out of my pocket here. All right. Brother Jeffrey. Question number 1. 5 years from now, where do you hope to see the Clifton Mosque?
So,
5 years from now, I hope to see the mosque healthy, prosperous, complete transparency of the activities of the mosque, of the governance of the mosque, good fellowship, brotherhood, and sisterhood, and to serve as an example to the community, to have more outreach with our local community, with our Muslim and non-Muslim brothers and sisters. So to act as a beacon to the community, providing educational services, outreach, perhaps health checks, so people can see our masjid as a resource and an active contributor of the community.
Okay, Brother Jeffrey. Next, we have a question for Untitled Chapter. Will you be able to work with others on the board who have opposing views, and how do you plan to promote unity on the board?
Answer to your first question, yes. I think that I will be able to work very well. I know most of the folks. You know, I've had engagements with them, some heated, some not. But we remain friends and associates, you know, in the process. So working with others on the board is not going to be a problem. How do I plan to promote unity or promote togetherness? I like to, and I just happen to have this with me, Surah 49, Ayat 11. It says, nor defame, nor be sarcastic to each other, nor call each other by offensive nicknames. Ill-seeming is a name connoting wickedness to be used on one after he has believed, and those who do not desist are indeed doing wrong. Ever since I've accepted Islam, what I've tried to do is use the Quran and Sunnah as a guide in my life, even with my family, my wife, and our discussions. When we can't come to an agreement, we can always go to Quran, we can go to Sunnah. The answers are already there. There's no need for us to be angry. In fact, a Muslim cannot be angry with another Muslim for more than 3 days. And if we carry that any longer than that, then we're not acting Islamically. And I use that as a guide in my house, and it works very well. I use it as a guide at my job, in my work. It works very well. And if we use that as a guide in what we do, in our interactions with one another, especially in the masjid or the masajid, I think it will work very well, and everything will work its way out. But it's work that we have to do. Allah said, if I wanted angels to change the world, I would, paraphrasing, I would have populated the world with angels. But he populated the world with men. So these rules are for us. Now we have to do is practice it. Assalamu
alaikum. Inshallah. Question number 2. What are the ideal qualities of a mosque board member?
Fear Allah. I mean, if somebody fear Allah, then you don't have to worry about it. You know, any person who fear Allah, they are responsible in the day of judgment. And whatever qualities we're looking for, we don't need to go any further. We need to go to our Quran and the Sunnah of our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Basically, what we need here is people who can understand what's going on, they have the experience, and to take this community to think about what's going to happen, not just 5 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Yes, I agree there's an issue with the youth, but we're not thinking about youth. Our community is increasing. When I came here back in 81, we had a small place. Look where we are now. And we need to project in the future. But my recommendation for any board is fear Allah.
Dr. Shamma, you've been selected. You have served on the board for many years. How do you plan to support the development of younger leadership on the board and in the community?
I have been always supportive to the youth. I have 5 children, aged from 42 on the top to almost 28 on the bottom. And my real dream is to have a system in the mosque that will teach our children how to be a leader, not only from the Islamic point of view, but from the world success point of view. And this comes on the basis of teach them how to be honest, hardworking, sincere. Those are the qualities that we are always trying to push for the youth. And I really also want not to duplicate any other efforts that was done outside of the mosque. I will urge the mosque to support any successful program that's going in the community. So if there is a youth program, a camp that was done, organized by others, we should be in full support of that.
Jazakallah khair. Makashallah. Mahdi. Question number 3. Should there be diversity on a mosque board, and how do you define diversity?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So should there be diversity? Well, from my perspective, there should be, yes, of course. Not because I'm French and it's a minority, but because, I mean, this is how Islam was, blooming through diversity. So it's very important to, follow the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ, and he taught us how to deal with the slave. And alhamdulillah, we don't have any slavery anymore, but we have a lot of minorities, and they are at the foundation here in the U.S. about about they are at the foundation of what is Islam here now. So having brothers from being Afro-American, being having brothers from Middle East as well as sisters, diversity is go on both gender too. And so we should promote that. It's very, very important. It's the same way we should promote diversity of opinion through knowledge. And how to deal with this diversity is also very, very important. And so again, the whole point I want to bring here is that there are 2 things that are very important in terms of diversity. Is first, we have to teach that from very young age. So the schooling is very important to show our kids that being Muslim doesn't mean that we have to be Arab or we have to be from Indonesia or something else. It's being part of a whole community, and so that's the job of the masjid here to educate our children. And so may Allah help us through these things.
Brother Tariq, do you feel like there is a place on the board for elders? If so, what are the gifts that the elders, the previous board members, will bring to this new board?
I definitely feel there is a place for elders on the board. The question is there a place for youth on the board? I think that the elders have been on the board for a very long time, and I think they should continue to be on the board. My question is, I was recently talking with Dr. Qureshi, and he told me a lot of the history of this community that I did not know. We have, between just a handful of people in this community, they've contributed millions of dollars to build these institutions. I think it would be completely arrogant to ask for these people to not be on a board. I think they have a place. They should always, whether they're on a board or whether they're on an advisory council, we cannot disregard our elders and what they've done and the sacrifices they've made, because in all honesty, like people like myself and other younger people, like we cannot even compare or even reach half of what they've done in terms of blazing the trail for us to come in and hopefully follow in their footsteps and bring more programming to the masjid and bring more events and programs. But we can't talk about people like the people at the Battle of Badr and people who gave their blood, sweat, and tears we wouldn't be here today without the people who laid the foundation. And these, people like Brother Majid Abdu, Dr. Qureshi, Brother Shamma, this brother Bakhadi, I think it's my first time learning her name. But I think that they have set the foundation for us, and we can't disregard that at all. I think there needs to be a healthy mix.
Dr. Qureshi, question number 4. Name one aspect of Clifton Mosque that needs to be improved, and how would you improve it?
I'm hard of hearing, so you'll have to repeat the question.
Name one aspect of Clifton Mosque that needs to be improved, and how would you improve it?
I think there should be harmony in the board, and everybody should try to help towards progress. See, just to give you an example, Brother Shamma has several acres of land right on the side of the parking lot, and I'm sure he will like to donate it so that we can develop more parking lot so that people can get out onto the Wolford Road. And that progress has been stalled, and I'm sure there are many other things. So I think if there was a harmony in the board and cooperation rather than the personal feelings and everything being dictated what you think, I think you should think what God thinks and what the community needs and what is the best long-term outlook for the community.
All right, next we have Sean Grubb. Muslim cleanliness and space efficiency is really important to me. What would you do to improve this?
Start with the bathrooms. Yeah, so I think the question was, masjid cleanliness is very important to me, to the person who wrote it. What would I do to fix that? I think starting with the bathrooms. The funny thing is that as formerly when I was a Christian, it's like going into a church, it's like the church was really, usually we took really good care of it and kept it very clean. And when I came into a couple of my first masjids, I'm like, okay, this is just different. Maybe this is just a bit of a, it's not normal. And what I found is that when I go into many masjids, we all have the same issue. We all have the problem of keeping the place clean before, after Jummah. The bathrooms are probably a starting point, but also the kitchens themselves as well. It's really easy. The answer is hire someone to clean the place on a regular occasion. Really, it's not rocket science. So what's the regular program to bring someone in to clean? That's it.
Brother Rolf, question number 5. If someone gave you $5 million today to spend on the Clifton Mosque, not any other mosque, but the Clifton Mosque, how would you spend it?
I will retire. Our community lacks the whole Cincinnati, greater Cincinnati area. We don't have a Islamic school that side by side teaches the academy, but on the Hifz program, on the Alim course, there's nothing is happening. And I've seen other cities, mashallah, they have full Hifz course, full Alim course, and they are doing the regular academic teaching too. And many scholars that different masjids have invited and other masajid has invited. If you look at they mashallah studied their Alim course and Hifz course, and mashallah they did their secular education. They are MBA, they've done MBA program. Mufti Kamani was here some time back. If you look at him, he's mashallah alim, and mashallah he did secular education too. So this is what we are lacking, and I think we should spend money towards that, and hopefully the realization should be there. So inshallah, I pray that we do that, inshallah.
have one more person left for at least one question, and then we can try to run through again, inshallah, if we still have some time. Yeah. Abdul Mu'min, what is your plan to include more youth in the mosque? And what is your plan to include more African Americans and women into the mosque? Your plan to include more youth in the mosque and to include more African Americans and women in terms of bringing them to the masjid.
Just to make everybody comfortable, feeling comfortable in the mosque, so that we don't have any any attitude about something bad about somebody who is. But that we need a welcoming attitude in the members of the community. That's
All right, so we've been through one round here. There's a few, as I'm going through these questions, there's a few really popular people. So I'm going to try to delegate out as much as I can here. But Dr. Shama, how do you or would you address the injustice of excluding a large majority of the community in matters such as the elections on the basis of finances or membership fees?
Any organization should have a membership fees to show commitment. Now, and we discussed that years ago, and we made it as affordable as possible as $10 a month. We also, in certain cases, we get a sponsor for somebody to pay on behalf, but every member should fulfill the payments of whatever that membership dues. I think currently it's like $100 per adult who is working. Students are $25, and there is other mosques and so on which make it as a percentage of your income and different level of making the membership, but we try to make it as affordable as possible. We know that Clifton is not where most of the well-off people live, so we try to make it as affordable as it could be, but I think it is a must. And those who cannot pay, we have the family assistance. We have so many ways of getting the people to, but they have to have that commitment of being a paid member in the community.
Brother Tarek, what are some of your plans to implement in making things more transparent?
That's a good question. Just based on my experience in Knoxville, Tennessee, where I served on the board twice, I served as president once on the masjid board. One of the things we did was hold basically quarterly open meetings with the community. Within the first week of the board getting elected, we held an open meeting with everyone, had a lot of food, and just listened to ideas. We didn't talk at all. We just heard everyone's ideas and took good notes. And every quarter after that, we had an open meeting with the community to disclose financial results, how we stand, finances, balance sheet, all that, take ideas, and tell people what the progress has been. So I think it starts with open meetings, financial transparency. We rarely see, I have never been at this mosque where I've been handed a balance sheet at a meeting. I think that's a problem. I think we should know, we should be able to go home and look at how the finances are being used and where the money is not being used and why the money is not being used. So I think that's important for a nonprofit that we be able to disclose that information, open meetings, and I think there needs to be regular communication through email on what the community's been up to. I think if you look at the statistics, only 15% of people are opening newsletters, and the subject line is always Clifton Mosque newsletter. It's just boring. Like, 15% even open that email. You need to have more emails, more, I mean, I come from a very marketing perspective, so I think we need to just make things more exciting, transparent, and communicate a lot more.
For the Nash checker, can you give us one specific thing we can do to make African Americans and Africans feel more welcome and inclined to participate in our activities?
Assalamu alaikum. I think one thing that I would like to see is that maybe monthly presentations are made from the different ethnic groups, African American, African, Indonesia, as to how did Islam actually impact their country. Because a lot of people, I know a lot of people, a lot of ethnic groups, but I don't know, without doing my own research, how did Islam get there? And then how did it impact them? Make a steady, continual calendar where this month there'll be the West Africa, this month Pakistan, this month Indonesia, this month, where we can find out about each other, learn about each other. You know, I would like to see that happen. And the other thing is just open conversation. You know, send out questionnaires, ask people what it is that would cause you to engage more with this masjid than you are doing. What are some of the issues that you think need to be addressed by us as a board, or us as a community, so that you feel more comfortable with engaging with us? You know, communication, transparency. You know, let folks know that not only do we want you to come to this masjid, but we want you to be a part of it. If there's anything you think is closed, then let us know so that we can open it up. Assalamu alaikum.
So we're going to be going for just a few more minutes, inshallah, until about 7:25. So keep those rolling. Sister Amina, do you support positive activities run through the masjid, such as homeschooling and karate programs? And how would you support such projects?
Assalamualaikum. Those are awesome programs. Alhamdulillah. Anytime where the children or adult or anybody comes to the masjid and has a positive experience, please do more of that. Anything where anyone has a negative experience, please do less of that. And the other thing is, subhanAllah, give credit where credit is due. There's a lot of people that have been putting these activities together, and there's so many times where they get yelled at. Whoever is doing anything at the masjid, if they're doing anything good, support them. Do not meet Allah on the Day of Judgment, be the one that made their lives difficult. SubhanAllah, I really love both of those programs. It's actually really cute to see the kids do karate. Come watch it. If you haven't seen it, come watch it. It's fun. And there's the sisters. Actually, yes, there should be a women's karate program. Inshallah.
Mahdi, you've been selected once again. How do you plan to bridge divides between conflicting groups and the ones that are an example of a divided group in our masjid? How do you plan to solve it?
So the question was about how to deal with conflicting issues between people in the masjid, and I guess there are, as we see, there are some issues in terms of behavior. The first thing we have to learn is to listen to each other and understand each other. So this is the first thing we learn in Islam, is how to be patient. Okay, how to be patient with each other, and this is really the root of Islam. So if we don't tolerate the other to speak, well, then we have a problem. So what we should promote here in this masjid is just to have some program where we have some sheikh coming here and teaching us actually how to behave in society. We had such program, and we had very large attendance for this program, and it helps all of us how to interact with each other. We have also a lot of halaqas, a lot of those topics are covered, and really just the knowledge helps us to solve all of those issues. and remaining calm and quiet and patient and content with what we have in this community is really the root of tolerate each other and filling the gaps and building the bridge for all of us. So yeah.
What are your plans for connecting the mosque?
So the question is, what are my plans to connect the mosque to the Clifton community? Some ideas that I have are to reach out to our local neighbors. For example, there's homes on either side of the mosque. I'm not sure if anybody's ever knocked on their door and introduced ourselves and our mosque to those neighbors, to let them know that we're here for you. If there's anything that you need, we want to be good neighbors for you. So we could let the neighbors in this community know about that. We could also reach out to there's what's it called? The Art Center, Clifton Art Center across the street. So we could reach out to that building, that center, to find out how can we engage with them, how can we do activities with them. There's a school across the street, one of the best public schools in Cincinnati. We should be reaching out to them to find out what can we do, how can we partner with your school to do activities together, to teach the children about Islam. So those are some of the things that I can think of just off the top of my head. Thank you for the question.
Imagine. Make a case for younger people to be on the board. Be specific. How do you grow the leaders?
Simple and easy. All grown leaders. I think it's really important to have the youth on the board. How can we do that? And I think we have to have a combination. We have to have the older and the youth, and then train them, provide training program for them on a regular basis, and let them be in the leading position, and let them make mistakes, and then guide them and help them. One way to do that, I think we have a great opportunity right now, is in the bylaws. In the bylaws, I think we need to come up with a language to indicate and be specific how many people and the age group, so that we guarantee that the youth will have a voice on the board. And say minimum, this is what we have. I think this is one of the ways to do it, not just the youth. I think we need, we're talking about diversity. I think we need to address this in the bylaws, and to have several representations from the sisters, from all the groups to have on the board. And I think we can do that by using the bylaws, and we have a great opportunity right now. We have, alhamdulillah, it's a blessing to have 7 of the young here, and they are full of energy, and I think this is a great start where we start with. Jazakallah.
Sister Heather. Name one aspect of the Clifton Mosque that needs to be improved, and how would you improve it?
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, I get things mixed up easily. One aspect that comes to mind is, I think we've already touched on the fact that everyone wants more unity. Something that really bothered me, that really affected me as a Muslim, was there's no one here full-time in the office. I know that Brother Muhammad is here part-time, but there's no one here full-time. And growing up in a church, there was always someone, business hours, the phone was ringing off the hook, you could call, leave a message, they get back to you, they email you. I think there's, that's missing here, and that's a huge part of helping not only the community, but your fellow brothers and sisters here at the masjid. I would definitely think that that's one thing that can make a huge difference in communication here, because when I was looking into Islam, I called Clifton. They told me to call Westchester. Westchester told me that Clifton could help me out, and I was like, well, why do I really want to pursue this? And it did deter me for a small period of time, and I think that can help communication-wise with everyone.
One more for Sean Grove. I appreciate the committee for conducting the election. Thank you, whoever wrote that. I want to ask one question for all 240 nomination papers. There was 216 that came back. Today we only have about 60 to 70 people. What will the people do, or what will you do to basically involve the remaining community in mosque and community activities?
So that's a really good question. If you look at Jummah, how many people are actually in the masjid during Jummah, right? And then, yeah, a lot. And then any one of our events, how many people are actually at the events? Not nearly as many. If you also look at the diversity between people who show up on Friday versus the people who come to these events, it's not the same group of people, is it? So we've got an entire group of people that are disenfranchised, not connected, or for whatever reason not able to attend or interested in attending. Is it a matter of apathy, or is it a matter of is it a matter of apathy, or is it a matter of being unable to participate or feeling like they can't participate? I don't know. But I think it's our job to go figure out what's the thing that's going to get people here. Is it more activities? Is it more meaningful activities? Or is it just a phone call from somebody saying, hey, why don't you come? Because at the end of the day, we can have more activities, we can have a bigger masjid, we can have a bigger parking lot, we can have a new park, we can have all these different things. But if the web that we build of relationships between each other isn't getting any stronger, we're not doing things right. So to fix that, we need to go to the community first and say, guys, what are we doing wrong? What needs to be fixed? And then when they tell us what needs to be fixed, go do something about it, right? I think it's real easy. Listen to the community, see what they want, and then deliver it. And if that doesn't end in the result of people having stronger ties with each other, go make an adjustment and try something else.
Brother Tarek, you're going to get to close out the show here. How do you plan to establish a relationship with local Muslim Student Association? What type of supports can the mosque provide for such an organization?
So I'm going to keep drawing on the Knoxville example because it's very similar to the Clifton Mosque. I mean, it was basically a masjid that was just a 10-minute walk from campus, and I think we need to have, I think first of all we need to open the board meetings, because when I was on the board here about 4 years ago. I completed a 2-year term, and then the meetings became closed off, and no one was allowed inside. But I think we should invite the students and invite others to observe the meetings and be able to tell us ideas of how to include them and give us ideas and observe them and feel more involved. I think one of the things we did, for example, was we co-sponsored events between the masjid and the MSA, such as instead of having students go to a bar to watch the Super Bowl, the MSA wanted to host a program on campus in a bowling alley that doesn't serve any alcohol, and they watched the Super Bowl as an MSA, and we helped them financially as a masjid to do so, and we did it as a joint program, to have the brothers and even sisters in this big space where they could either watch the game or just bowl or play pool or ping pong. So I think you need to think of what are some events that the masjid and the MSA can co-sponsor together. If the MSA is struggling financially, and this masjid is sitting on over $400,000 of money. So I think if the MSA is asking for $300, $500, $1,000 to do something meaningful, I think that if you want to improve relations, you need to start funding some programs that the MSA want to do, or just their ideas.
All right, Jazakallah khair to the entire panel. Inshallah, keep all of these individuals here in your du'as. I would say give them a round of applause. You can do that if you'd like. But more importantly, definitely keep them in your du'as. This is amazing. I think, inshallah, when we keep our intentions straight and we do it with sincerity, barakah is going to result. And this is, inshallah, a sign of that barakah. So with that said now, inshallah, there is food here. Okay, so inshallah, there's refreshments, and we're going to go ahead and concurrently, due to time, go ahead and start the voting process. So if you have a last name, A through G, okay, we're going to have you come back to the back here, inshallah. It'll be behind the screen, and we'll have I'll have, let's see, Sadia, it looks like she's been kind of setting up back here to some degree. Okay.
If you have last name A through whatever Brother Zishan said, if
Change
the
it.
men can start making a line starting at this table, and then if the women can start making a line starting at the end of that table.
And we'll, inshallah, we'll also close with a dua if I can find. One or the other, and it's going to be from Asr to Isha on Monday and Wednesday, and on Friday it is